I had no idea what I was getting myself into the first time I started a company. And I've started in several of them. Started a landscaping business to help pay for school when I was here, and did work for the horse farms around Lexington. Had a ball. It was great. I grew up on a farm, so I really liked being outside. Started Kentucky Trivia. So this was an add-on to Trivial Pursuit. If anybody remembers that, we sold thousands of these. Had a great time. Did this with a buddy of mine here from the University of Kentucky. And I started, this was Information Search and Retrieval, Inc. And I was doing work in graduate school with databases and thought that was pretty interesting stuff, that you'd actually be able to use databases to work with large volumes of data and gain some insights from it. And this business never had $1 of revenue. You'll see that I actually started this when I was director of Hagen Hall. And not the opulent Hagen Hall that you have now. It was a very different one. I'm jealous. This company never had a nickel of revenue. I actually got hired by Procter Gamble to be one of the first data scientists on their team when they first started that kind of activity way back in the 1980s. And that's really what I've been doing the whole rest of my life. I learned a lot about entrepreneurship here at the University of Kentucky with some of those ventures I was involved in. I learned a lot, too, at Procter Gamble and then subsequently at Unilever, where I got to build my own team there and found that you could actually be entrepreneurial inside of a larger company. And I've had a ball doing that ever since. One question would be, why did I want to be an entrepreneur? I did this kind of stuff over and over again. I still do. And this is the entrepreneur I admire the most. This is my grandfather. This is somewhere in about the 19-teens in Brooksville, Kentucky. Anybody here from Brooksville, Kentucky? Anybody know where it is? All right, good. Somebody knows where it is. That's great. My grandfather made it all the way to the 3rd grade in terms of his education. And as a young man, he found himself working in a slaughterhouse. And in the 1930s, the Merchant Marine went around recruiting, and he said, that sounds like a really great idea. I think being on a ship would be better than working in a slaughterhouse. And that really started his entrepreneurial career. 2 really lucky things happened to him. One of them was he was on a ship that didn't get sunk in World War II. He actually made it all the way to the end. And he was on a ship that was headed to Europe with a bunch of jeeps and trucks in it at the time that the war ended. And they didn't need him in Europe anymore, and the military didn't need him. He turned around and headed back to the United States, and they offered to the sailors, they said, well, if you want, you could actually take these on consignment and sell them and keep the profit. And my grandfather said, that sounds like a really good idea. And that began his career as an entrepreneur. And I got to see him do all kinds of different things. He had a great time. His 3rd grade education, if he'd had a little more, he might have made more money doing these kinds of things, but he had a great time and got to actually make his own decisions. And I said, I want to do what Bill Bay did. And I have. One of the questions is, what are the things that you need to actually be successful? And I knew that more than a 3rd grade education would be a good idea. And I think I got a lot of that here through the experiences that I had here at the University of Kentucky. And those were some things like taking economics, which I was fascinated by. I loved every minute of it. And I use it really every day, still in my life. It was taking things like accounting, which I didn't like a bit. In fact, I pretty much despised it, to tell you the truth. But it's incredibly important if you're looking to be an entrepreneur. I think all the other entrepreneurs here would agree. You need to know accounting. Like it or not, you need to know it. I had a lot of great experiences here that I think have given me a great opportunity. One of the questions people will ask is, what's the best thing about being an entrepreneur? And I will tell you the single best thing is being able to create a team, or really play a role in creating a team, because past a certain point, you're not the one who creates it. The team creates itself and continues to build on that. I get to work with the most amazing people. I really do. I mean, there are people that I respect and admire. There are people who can do things that I can only dream of being able to do. And it started here. It started here for me. And what I want to do is, for any of the entrepreneurs here, I wish you the same. I wish you the same success, the same experiences, and opportunity that I've had. Thank you.